Contest your property tax value. Contest. What does that mean? When you purchase a home, especially in Texas, we're going to focus on Texas because that's where I'm located, and specifically North Texas, although this holds true throughout the land. Your property taxes, when you buy a home, your property taxes are based on two things. One, the Central Appraisal District, CAD for short, CAD, Central Appraisal District. The Central Appraisal District assesses a value for your taxes, for your property taxes, says your home's going to be worth X. A lot of times they're going to get that from kind of using some good guesswork. They're going to get it from when you bought the house and things get filed, they're going to pull it from there. But Texas is a non-disclosure state, meaning they don't know what you paid for your house unless you tell them. Now, they have access to MLS and a whole bunch of data. So if they see that the house listed for X, they're probably going to say, well, it's probably somewhere in that range is what you paid for it. But at the end of the day, it's a non-disclosure state. Other states, that's public information. But here in Texas, it's not. So I would not recommend telling them what you paid for it unless it's significantly lower than what the Central Appraisal District is valuing your home at. So I said there's two ways or two things that determine your property taxes and how much you pay. That valuation, and two is the actual tax rate. And the way you can change your tax rate is by, right? So local elections, when they want to raise money for this, that, or the other, vote, because that helps your taxes go up or go down. The valuation part is what you can actually contest. So right about, it depends on the county, right? Or the Central Appraisal District, right? Dallas versus Collin versus Tarrant versus Parker, wherever, right? Whatever county you're part of, let's just call it February, March time period, is homeowners get notified that, hey, we this year, for this calendar year, the Central Appraisal District, we're going to assess your value to be X. Well, there is a window. A lot of times it's like May, whether it's early May, mid-May, to be determined, but every place is going to be different. So if you're watching this and you're in, Central Texas or Houston or in Maine, it doesn't matter. So just check your local, Central Appraisal District. So wherever you're at, whatever county, whatever jurisdiction you're in, just put in that CAD and see what pops up, and you can probably find the deadlines. But it's free to do it. And it's free to do it. But here's the catch. Not the catch. Here's the tip. I pay somebody to contest my property values for me. You do not have to. It is your choice. You can absolutely go do it. And I know many people that do. And the stories I've heard convince me that I should pay to have my property taxes. So you can do it yourself. You can go in and say, hey, so let me give you a quick overview of what to do if you decide to do it yourself. Go in with the data because you want this number to be as low as possible. This has nothing to do with reselling your home and the value of your home. It just has to do with the valuation used for determining property taxes. First and foremost, file any extension or a homestead exemption you have. If you live in it, your primary, file your homestead exemption. If you're over 65, file that exemption. If you're a disabled person, file that. So again, the appraisal districts are going to have some exemptions you can go for, which help lower the amount of taxes you pay. That's that valuation number. They're going to say, you know what, we're either going to freeze it here or take it off or reduce it and help you save some money. So that's one way. You should always do that. Always do that. But if you're going to go contest it, you got to say, man, my house really isn't worth X. From all the terrible pictures you had when you first moved in, I don't care if you repainted and did new landscaping, try to get your house looking as unappealing as possible and as bad as possible in terms of pictures, and then find comps in the area that do not help you. And this is where having a great realtor or real estate professional can help you that says, man, I see in these areas, try to sell your home. Or like, hey, here's where it's value add on the high side. Like here's homes that are like it. If you can find homes that are similar, but sold for a discount, maybe they were on MLS, maybe they weren't. Maybe your neighbor next door was getting divorced and just had to do a fire sale. Maybe this guy over here lost his job and did a fire sale, but they went on MLS. So again, market's really important. Having your realtor help you, your real estate professional is really important. And then you get all this data. You reach out to the appraisal district, submit your information. A lot of times they're going to have you go in, and then you get to sit there in front of a committee of your peers and say, this is why I think my home is worth this much lower value. And they then either say we disagree. So that's the process. It's free. You can do it. You can absolutely do it on your own. I pay Evan Federer, and I can put his information here, but it's just Dallas. He's gotten so big and so popular. He only does Dallas. So there, he can recommend if you're somewhere in North Texas, he can recommend that he trades business with because he doesn't want to drive up to McKinney and work a market he doesn't know very well. So I pay him or people like him. And this one is I don't have to do anything, right? Outside of just saying, hey, man, like, here's any updates we did, or here's what we haven't done, or whatever it is. So it's a very quick and easy, like, here's the house, here's the current condition. And then every single year thereafter, and I've been working with Evan for 15 years plus, and I will be darned. And Caroline and I once owned 6 properties, long-term rentals routinely, I'd be like, there's no way he's getting that lowered. And he would get something lowered. It's an amazing skill. It is. And so the best part is I don't pay Evan if he doesn't get success. So if he doesn't save me any money, no harm, no foul, didn't cost me anything that year. If he did save me money, if he was able to lower that valuation, which saved me dollars in property taxes, he gets a split. So I know companies on the very low side can be third. So if I save $300 this year, he'd get $100 of that. If it's a third, I know companies that charge 50%. So if we save $300, he'd get 150. And you say, well, I'm going to go for the lowest. You get what you pay for. So I would absolutely interview the person, how long they've been doing it, what's their success ratio, what's their staff look like. Because I see the billboard, I don't trust them, right? Because it costs a lot of money to do that. But so you got to find somebody somehow. So ask your neighbors, ask your friends, ask somebody who's used somebody. I would absolutely do that. And I would give you more information, but I don't want to give away the secrets. And it's not that they're secrets. I do find it fascinating, but I don't, for the relevance of this video, I don't think it actually makes, doesn't help you. Just know there is both a skill set in terms of data and quantifying what needs to be done. And there's also a little salesmanship, a little gamemanship that goes in with it. And these people have contacts and relationships down at the appraisal districts. They know that, this person's going to be more apt to give a discount on this type of home or this kind of story behind it. And they can use the sales because these are humans that are ultimately saying yes or no. So again, find somebody that knows how to present the best opportunity you to save money, but you absolutely should contest it as much as you can. Even if it's by yourself, do the work. You should absolutely contest it. And there's levels, right? You can say, man, I'm going to contest it. And if they give it to me and I did very little work, good for you. If you're like, man, I'm going to do a lot of work, do that. If you're just going to say, man, I'm going to pay somebody, but either way, you should at least take some action, save yourself some money, because it can be a couple hundred, it can be some big dollars depending on just what it is and how big the home is and the savings. So absolutely contest your property valuations. If you have questions, reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions because, that's what the Mortgage Mark team is here to do. We're here to answer questions. So file your homestead exemptions, file your any exemptions you're qualified for, the over 65 disabled person. We'll put links around here for that. And as always, reach out to the Mortgage Mark team with any questions. And when you think mortgage, think Mark.